Current Youngstown State men's basketball head coach Jerrod Calhoun has been in the collegiate coaching realm since 2004.
At the mid-major level, guys, we're not on national TV across America like the Power Fives every single night. So you must embrace that, okay? You must be excited about that. That's for you, the player, our team, in the city, right?
Calhoun was first introduced to what a high-level coach is like when he played under legendary head coach Rollie Massimino at Cleveland State University.
Rollie is a legendary coach, a guy that I believe should be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He's not been inducted yet. He was on the ballot, but they didn't put him in. But the thing that I learned from him was how to run a basketball program. At Cleveland State, same conference, I took a ton of stuff from the way we traveled to the way we took care of our guys, the family environment that he surrounded us as players. We felt very comfortable going to him and having a real relationship with him. Strategically, he was a master of switching up his defenses and just the way he treated his staff. My first year I was a student manager, so I was really part of his staff, and then transitioned into a walk-on there. So pretty much took the environment that he created, how he treated his players, family atmosphere, and then some of the tactical things.
After Cleveland State and Massimino parted ways in 2003, Calhoun was given another opportunity to be on the staff of a coaching legend, this time then Cincinnati head coach Bob Huggins.
Yeah, I met Coach Huggins. I was coaching an AAU basketball team. At that time, they're called Ohio Basketball Club. They're now the Cleveland Basketball Club. So I was the head coach. About 6 Power 5 players that Coach Huggins was recruiting. Turned out that none of them decided to go to Cincinnati. Actually, 2 of them that we thought were going to go to Cincinnati went to Ohio State. So one of the neat things was Coach Huggins and I built a really good relationship. He offered me a student assistant position where they basically paid my tuition for the year. Coach Massimino in Cleveland State parted ways. So I wanted to get into coaching, and it was a great path to really understand the difference between mid-major and Power 5. At that time when I went there, they were top 5 in the country. And just to learn how different levels of basketball was instrumental in my development. Yeah, the nice thing about my path is I've kind of been at every level. I obviously started off as a walk-on, then earned a scholarship. Really started off as a student manager, then was a walk-on, then went to an NAIA school fresh out of college.
After graduating from Cincinnati in 2004, Calhoun began his true coaching career with 2 very successful assistant coaching stints at Walsh University and the University of West Virginia.
The guy that got me the job is Dan Peters, the coach that was here at Youngstown State that won 20 games. He was best friends with the head coach at Walsh. So when he had a position open, he just got the job. He offered me an assistant spot. And it was one of the most meaningful things for me to learn how to recruit, to learn how to interact with players. It was my first full-time job, so I attacked it every single day, recruiting, development, and we ended up winning a national championship our first year. I took a young man by the name of Robert Whaley from Cincinnati, and we kind of put Walsh on the map. And then I was very fortunate and was able to join West Virginia's staff and a director of basketball operations. So one year for 3 years I'm an assistant coach at the NAIA level, and now I'm making the rise to a Power 5, at that point the Big East, to do director of basketball operations. So it felt like my journey has made me very well-rounded. I've had to manage budgets, I've had to do travel, I've had to recruit, I've had to do a little bit of everything, and it prepared me. All along, my goal ultimately was to be a head basketball coach. So every journey that you're on, I think, prepares you for those moments when you do get the call.
Calhoun was granted his first head coaching job at Division II Fairmont State University in 2012, where he led the Fighting Falcons to immediate success.
You get to a point where you're on stage and you're looking at a couple hundred people and you're saying, wow, I'm 29 years old, I'm a Division II head basketball coach. It's very surreal. But when all the glitz and glamour end, it's time to go to work. So I think you have to implement your plan. You got to have, you got to really create belief in the organization. That's what we did from day one. And we had a great first year. We ended up making the NCAA tournament and building momentum. And then from there, we built locker rooms, gyms, the way we traveled. We went from vans to buses. We ended up implementing summer school. We did some things that Division IIs traditionally in that league hadn't done. So I think the momentum was building over those, first couple years, and then obviously, that fifth year of playing for a national title was pretty special. I mean, it's been my philosophy from day one: get old, stay old. Back then, it was through retaining players and developing players, and we're still doing a lot of that here. At YSU. But now with the transfer portal, I think there's a million ways you can build your program. But I think the older veteran teams have a sense of urgency. They understand there's just so many games left in their career. So my older guys have always kind of carried our teams. Matt Bingaya was a special player, the Division II National Player of the Year, but there was multiple guys on that team that were all seniors, and I think that's why we set the school record. So we've been able to carry that philosophy to YSU and try to implement that here. Different now with the portal, but I think it works.
Shortly after leading Fairmont State to an appearance in the Division II National Championship game, Calhoun was named the 13th coach in Youngstown State history on March 27th, 2017.
After the national championship game, there was a few different schools reaching out and that sort of thing. But one thing that stood out to me was Ron Strollo in my first interactions with him. Then President Tressel. That was really meant a lot to me. We lost the national championship game. To be able to speak to him and get a text message from him. He's a guy that obviously has experienced that. He's lost a couple national championships. So that really showed me that this is probably the place. As you said, my son was in Cleveland. I was in West Virginia making that track. I drove through Youngstown hundreds of times over a 10, 12-year span. So I knew the tradition of sports. I knew about the boxing. I knew the toughness mentality. I knew the football program, the tradition of President Tressel and the Stoopses and the Pellinis and just the sports town and Boom Boom and Kelly Pavlik. I studied it. I knew it. So I thought, why can't we do it in basketball? I think people probably thought we couldn't or whatever, but when you have belief and you have a plan and you have people that are determined to get something done, I think you can. So it's been a lot of hard work, but obviously the results have been pretty good.
A major key to having success during the transfer portal era has been Calhoun's ability to form great relationships with his players in such a short time span.
And Coach Calhoun, they were so accepting of me and they were so confident in me. Like a lot of people, they ask me how I get double-doubles and keep the streak going and stuff like that. And honestly, this is what me and Cal talked about, before the season. He believed in me, he seen it. And I never shot a three before I got here. One of the first things Cal did was "Diz, we gotta get you to shoot threes." So I'm just knowing that and having a guy in my corner like that, that made me feel so much better about just waking up and playing basketball. I got to be a basketball player, not a robot. And that was one of my biggest things because last year and the last couple of years, I felt like I was a robot. You know what I'm saying? Cal made me feel like a person again. I could hoop, you know what I'm saying? I got something to offer more than just one specific thing.
Just him letting me play free and just letting me do me. Even in the beginning of the year when the ball wasn't going in for me, he would still let me take the shots that I wanted to take. And we really built a close connection when we played Robert Morris here. And it was a tight game and I had got a technical foul. And he did take me out, and when he did that, I got a lot of respect for him because a lot of coaches would have took me out in that situation, but once he did that, I realized he's messed up just like me, so, yeah.
I'd say for Coach Cal, just letting us play, letting us play to our strengths. He big on that. He wants us to all produce at a high level. And he just know what we're capable of doing. By him recruiting all of us, he just know what we're good at, what we need to work on. And the things we not too good at, he still in practice, work on going left and reading that defenders, things like that. I felt like he always tried to push us to that next level.
I'd say the freedom and the connection we had when I came on my visit, it felt like it was a partnership and not like he was looking down on me. It felt like we was looking eye to eye, saying that as in, he was trying to help me in a way, more so, instead of just trying to tell me what to do type of thing. So I appreciated that.